You don't truly know a person when life is easy. You know them when life tests them. Watch not what they say, but how they behave when the world stops applauding. We often believe we understand people because we've shared good moments with them. Laughter, success, comfort. But character isn't built in comfort. It's revealed in chaos. If you want to see someone's true self, not the mask, not the charm, pay attention to just two things. Because these two things will tell you more about a person than years of conversation ever could. How they treat the powerless. You can learn everything about a person, not by how they act around those above them, but by how they behave around those who can do nothing for them. The powerless, the waiter, the cleaner, the driver, the employee, these are the silent mirrors of a person's soul. Because when someone knows there's no benefit in being kind, no recognition in being humble, and no reward in being gentle, their true character finally comes out. Most people wear masks around power. They smile at authority, flatter the influential, and act composed in public. But when they think no one important is watching, they drop the mask. And that's when you see who they really are. A kind person doesn't choose kindness based on status. They live it effortlessly. Their respect is not selective. Their compassion doesn't depend on the value someone can offer. When you observe how someone treats the powerless, you're not just watching behavior, you're witnessing their spiritual state. Because arrogance is never born from strength, it's born from insecurity. People who look down on others are often trying to lift themselves up. They crave superiority because they lack inner peace. But those who are genuinely at peace don't need to prove their worth. They express it through humility. Think about the last time you saw someone raise their voice at a waiter, ignore a guard, or dismiss someone's effort simply because they could. That wasn't confidence. That was weakness disguised as power. True strength is quiet. It doesn't demand attention. It earns respect through grace. Even ancient wisdom speaks the same truth. The Buddha once said, if you want to see a man's greatness, observe how he treats those beneath him. And time has proven this over and over. The most powerful people are not those who command respect with fear, but those who inspire it through kindness. When you pay attention to how someone treats the powerless, you start to see their values, what they truly believe about humanity. You begin to sense whether they live from ego or empathy. And the beauty of this test is that it never fails. A person can fake charm for a moment, but they cannot fake their essence. So, the next time you want to understand someone's heart, don't look at how they treat you. Look at how they treat those who have nothing to offer them. Because the powerless unknowingly hold the power to reveal truth. Real character doesn't show up when the cameras are on or when the world is watching. It appears in the quiet moments, in how we speak to a stranger, in how we acknowledge someone's effort, in how we choose compassion when cruelty would be easier. And maybe that's the real test of humanity. Not how high we rise, but how gently we treat those still climbing. How they react to discomfort. You don't truly know a person when life is smooth. You know them when life becomes uncomfortable. Discomfort is the great revealer. It strips away the false confidence, the polite smiles, and the well-rehearsed calm. When life presses against someone's ego, their true nature rises to the surface. It's easy to be kind when everything flows your way. When people agree with you, when plans succeed, when the world applauds your effort. But watch what happens when things start to fall apart, when delays happen, when they're misunderstood, when someone says no. That's when the truth appears, not the version they present, but the one that lives underneath. Some people, under discomfort, become bitter. They lash out blame and seek control. Their patience vanishes the moment reality refuses to bend for them. This reaction doesn't make them evil. It simply shows how much of their peace depends on control. Others, however, stay centered. They take a breath, observe, and respond instead of react. These are the people who've learned that discomfort isn't the enemy. It's the mirror. Discomfort reveals how emotionally mature a person truly is. It shows whether they see life as something to dominate or something to dance with. If their peace collapses every time something unexpected happens, then it was never real peace. It was comfort disguised as calm. True calm isn't found in the absence of pain, but in the ability to remain grounded within it. When you observe someone facing discomfort, a rude comment, a delay, a loss, a moment of uncertainty, you are witnessing their spiritual depth. A shallow person fights every small inconvenience as if it's an attack. A grounded one sees it as a lesson. They don't let their emotions rule them, they let awareness guide them. Alan Watts once said, "The more a thing tends to be permanent, the more it tends to be lifeless." Discomfort brings life. It moves us, sharpens us, humbles us. And how someone handles it shows how alive they really are inside. Those who can sit calmly with discomfort have faced themselves. They've met their fears, accepted their imperfections, and stopped running from life's chaos. You can tell a lot about someone by how they handle being wrong, by how they act when plans change, by how they treat others when they themselves are stressed. Do they lose grace, or do they breathe through it? Do they seek understanding, or do they seek blame? These moments speak louder than 1,000 words, because anyone can act kind in peace, but only the wise stay kind in pain. Anyone can seem composed when things go right, but only the evolved stay centered when they don't. So if you want to see someone's true character, don't look at how they behave in comfort. Watch how they react when life denies them control, when patience is tested, when ego feels bruised. That's where authenticity begins, and that's where the real heart of a person quietly reveals itself. Words can lie, patterns don't. Words are easy. They flow smoothly. They charm, they promise, and they convince. But words alone mean nothing until life tests them. Because while words can lie, patterns never do. Anyone can say the right thing once. Anyone can sound kind, wise, or humble in a single moment. But what truly defines a person is what they repeat, what they consistently do when no one is pushing them to act. A person's character isn't built in grand gestures. It's carved quietly in the patterns of their everyday behavior. Think about it. Someone may say they value honesty, but do they twist the truth when it's inconvenient? They may talk about kindness, yet gossip about others when they're not in the room. They may speak of loyalty, but disappear when things get hard. The mouth speaks what the mind wants you to believe, but actions reveal what the soul truly is. Patterns are the footprints of a person's inner world. They don't need explanation, and they can't be hidden for long. You can fake kindness for a day, but not for a year. You can fake humility in a moment of praise, but not in the rhythm of your daily life. Time always exposes what words try to hide. The most dangerous illusion is to trust someone's language more than their consistency, because manipulation often hides behind eloquence. Some people speak beautifully about values they've never practiced. They use words as a shield, to appear good, spiritual, or trustworthy. But the truth always reveals itself in repetition. It's not what they say once. It's what they keep doing when they think you're no longer paying attention. Watch the small things, how they respond to minor inconvenience, how they treat people when no spotlight is on them, how they handle promises that bring no benefit to them. These are the threads that weave the fabric of their soul. Alan Watts once said, "The only way to make sense out of change is to plunge into it, move with it, and join the dance. The same applies here. Don't resist the truth that patterns reveal. People show you who they are, not through their claims, but through their dance with life, their rhythm, their habits, their emotional reactions. They tell you everything if you just stay still enough to observe. When you start paying attention to patterns, you stop falling for words. You stop getting fooled by temporary charm. You start seeing that consistency is the real language of truth. So, don't be impressed by talk. Be attentive to behavior. Don't let a single moment of kindness erase a long pattern of disrespect. And don't let poetic promises blind you to silent repetition. Because in the end, words can be edited, but patterns are written in truth. And the most honest story about someone isn't told by their lips, it's told by their life. The ego tests give a person a little power, a little praise, or a little success, and you will meet their true self. Because nothing reveals the depth of someone's character faster than the way they handle their ego. The ego test isn't given in times of failure. It's given in moments of triumph. When people start to feel important, when they're admired, or when they believe they've made it. That's when the real test begins. Do they become more humble or more arrogant? Do they lift others as they rise, or begin to look down on them? Do they still listen or only wait to be heard? Ego is a strange illusion. It whispers, you're better than them, even when you're not. It feeds on validation, needing constant proof that it's superior, smarter, or more deserving. But the truth is, the stronger a person's ego becomes, the weaker their soul appears. Because the ego doesn't build, it divides. It separates me from you and mine from ours. It kills connection in the name of pride. You can tell a lot about a person by how they treat others after they've succeeded. The ones who are truly wise understand that success is not proof of superiority. It's a responsibility. It's an invitation to serve, to uplift, to give more than before. But those ruled by ego begin to see others as competition, not companions. Their energy shifts from gratitude to comparison. And in that shift, they lose the very essence that made them rise in the first place. Alan Watts often spoke about the illusion of the separate self. The false idea that we exist as isolated egos moving independently through the world. He taught that the moment we believe ourselves to be separate, we begin to suffer. Ego, then, is not confidence, it's disconnection. The truly strong are not those who stand above others, but those who see themselves in others. When you observe someone under the ego test, pay attention to their reactions to admiration. Do they let praise inflate them or inspire them? Do they become distant when they achieve something? Or do they stay grounded and human? A humble person doesn't reject praise. They just don't let it control them. They understand that appreciation is meant to be shared, not stored. The ego test also appears when someone faces criticism. The insecure ego sees feedback as a threat. The mature soul sees it as an opportunity. You can see the difference instantly. One reacts with anger, the other with curiosity. The greatest people in history, the wise, the enlightened, the compassionate, all pass the ego test. They touch success and fame, yet never let it blind them, because they knew that the moment you start believing you are above others, you begin to fall below your own truth. So, when you want to know someone's real character, don't just watch how they handle failure. Watch how they handle admiration. Because anyone can stay humble when they have nothing, but only the awakened can stay humble when they have everything. Energy never lies. Before a person speaks, before they move, before they even smile, you can feel them. There's something deeper than words that always tells the truth, their energy. Energy never lies because it's the language of the soul. It's the quiet vibration beneath behavior, the invisible presence behind words. You can fake tone. You can fake kindness. You can even fake empathy for a while. But energy always exposes intention. It's what you feel when someone walks into a room. They don't have to say a thing, yet their presence either lifts you or drains you. Every human being carries an energetic signature, a reflection of what they hold inside. Some people radiate calm, peace, and understanding because their hearts are settled. Others bring tension, chaos, or anxiety because they live in inner conflict. You can tell instantly who is authentic and who is not by their charm, but by the aftertaste they leave in your spirit. Alan Watts once spoke about the illusion of separation, how every human being is part of one great rhythm, one universal dance. Energy is how that truth expresses itself. When someone's inner world is in harmony, you feel it. Their presence feels like sunlight, warm, open, and effortless. They don't have to try to be good. Their goodness is felt, not performed. And then there are others whose energy feels heavy, not because they are evil, but because they carry unhealed pain. Their words might be positive, their smile polite, but something feels off. Their energy tells the real story: resentment, jealousy, insecurity, or the hunger to control. This is why listening to your intuition is so important. It speaks the language of energy long before the mind understands what's wrong. When you pay attention to energy, you begin to see that everything people do is a reflection of what they feel inside. The aggressive person is usually afraid. The one who seeks attention feels unseen. The one who constantly criticizes others is at war with themselves. Once you recognize this, you stop reacting and start understanding. You learn that people project what they carry. And that's why energy never lies. Real awareness means feeling beyond appearances. You stop judging people only by how they look or what they say, and you begin to sense their frequency. Some people make you feel safe in silence. Others make you uneasy even in kindness. Always trust that feeling. It's not random. It's your soul recognizing truth or deceit. And the beauty of energy is that it works both ways. Just as you can sense others, they can sense you. When you carry peace, people feel peace. When you carry gratitude, others relax in your presence. You don't have to speak loudly. Your energy introduces you before your words ever do. So, when you want to know someone's true character, stop listening for their promises. Feel the atmosphere they create. Because words may deceive, appearances may distract, but the energy they emit, calm or chaotic, giving or taking, will always tell you who they truly are. In the end, remember, energy speaks the language of truth. And truth, no matter how deeply buried, always finds its way to the surface. How they speak about others. If you truly want to understand someone's heart, listen to how they speak about those who are not in the room. Because the way a person talks about others, especially when they're absent, reveals who they are far more than how they talk to them face to face. It's easy to be kind when someone is present. It's easy to smile, compliment, and pretend to care when eyes are watching. But the real measure of integrity appears in private conversations. The ones where there's no reward for kindness and no consequence for cruelty. That's where the soul speaks honestly. When someone speaks with compassion about others, even those they disagree with, it shows maturity. It means they value understanding more than judgment. It means they've outgrown the need to prove others wrong just to feel right. But when someone constantly criticizes, mocks, or belittles others behind their backs, it doesn't say anything about those people. It says everything about the one speaking. Gossip is the language of the insecure. It's how the small-minded try to feel big. They tear others down to fill the emptiness within. But wise people, truly wise people, Understand that speaking ill of others only poisons your own energy. Every harsh word you speak about someone else is a reflection of something unresolved within yourself. Alan Watts once said that all conflict begins when we forget our unity, when we see ourselves as separate instead of reflections of one another. When you speak negatively about someone, you're unknowingly speaking about yourself. The traits you despise in others are often unhealed parts of you calling for attention. That's why the spiritually mature speak carefully. They know that what they say builds a mirror they must eventually face. Pay attention to how someone speaks about others, especially those who've wronged them. Do they curse or do they reflect? Do they wish harm or do they wish healing? It's in those moments that you see how far they've evolved. Some people carry revenge, others carry wisdom. One reacts from ego, the other from awareness. There's a quiet power in those who refuse to gossip. They don't need to explain or justify others' behavior. They simply let it go. Their silence isn't weakness. It's self-control. They protect their peace by not letting someone else's name become poison in their mouth. And then there are people who always find something kind to say. Even when someone fails, they focus on the lesson, not the flaw. Even when they're hurt, they choose grace over bitterness. These souls leave you feeling lighter, not heavier. So if you want to see someone's true character, don't just listen to how they speak to you. Listen to how they speak about everyone else, because words spoken in someone's absence reveal the presence or absence of integrity. In the end, the mouth only echoes the heart, and a pure heart never finds pleasure in tearing another apart. When no one is watching, the truest test of a person's character is not how they act in front of others. It's how they behave when no one is watching. Because when the applause fades, when the cameras are off, and when there's no one left to impress, that's when authenticity steps forward. In public, people wear masks. They adjust their tone, their posture, even their morality to fit the room. But behind closed doors, when there's no reward for goodness and no punishment for deceit, the soul shows its real face. That's the moment where truth begins. In silence, in solitude, in the unseen choices no one will ever know about. Character is not built in front of the crowd, it's built in the quiet. It's in the decision to stay honest when lying would be easier. It's in returning the extra money when no one would notice. It's in treating others with respect, not because you have to, but because you choose to. These moments don't make headlines, but they define who you truly are. Most people behave well out of fear. Fear of judgment, fear of rejection, fear of losing approval. But the evolved soul acts with integrity, not because someone is watching, but because they are watching themselves. Their conscience is their witness. Their peace is their prize. They know that real freedom isn't doing whatever you want. It's doing what's right, even when no one will ever find out. Alan Watts often spoke about the illusion of separation, how everything we do, even in private, ripples through the universe. Our unseen actions shape the energy we live in. Every secret act of kindness strengthens the spirit. Every small dishonesty, every hidden cruelty weakens it. In that sense, there is no such thing as being truly unseen. The universe always mirrors back what we give, whether or not there's an audience. Watch how someone behaves when they think no one will notice. Do they clean up after themselves in public spaces? Do they show gratitude to people who can't offer them anything? Do they keep their word even when it brings them no benefit? These small details reveal more than grand gestures ever could. True character is quiet. It doesn't need recognition to exist. The person who lives with integrity in private carries an inner peace that no fame can buy. Because when the lights go out and the world grows silent, they can rest. knowing they didn't betray themselves. And maybe that's the greatest success of all. To be the same person in the dark as you are in the light. To act with love when no one is looking. To choose honesty when no one will find out. To do the right thing, not for applause, not for image, but for the simple reason that it's right. In the end, what you do in silence defines you louder than any speech. Because character isn't who the world sees, it's who you are when only your soul is watching.